Well, welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Oakland. My name is Laurel Liefert. I use the pronouns she, her, and hers, and I serve as the minister of this growing, generous, music-loving, justice-seeking congregation here in downtown Oakland. And this is my first Sunday back after my summer break, and I'm super glad to be back. And I also want to warn you that we have a lot going on today, so today's service may run a little bit over, for which I apologize, but hope you'll stick around. So a warm welcome to all of you who I can see who are here in person. And did you know that we're also joined by some people on Zoom? So if you dare to turn around and look into those bright lights, you can wave and give them a welcome. So we know that you are with us, and thank you for being with us this morning. No matter who you love or where you are on your spiritual journey, no matter what you believe or don't believe, there is a place for you here. So we are a come-as-you-are congregation, which means whether you come today with joy in your heart or whether you come today with tears, you belong here. So welcome. So Karina, I think I'm going to have you come on up while I do this land acknowledgement. Do you want to come up? So you can sit in my chair while I talk for a minute, and then I'm going to introduce you and have you come on up.
Sounds good.
So each Sunday we take a moment during the service to acknowledge that the land on which we live and work and worship is the ancient sacred grounds and the unceded land of the Lishan Ohlone indigenous people of the Bay Area. So unceded means that the Ohlone people never gave up the land that they had lived in, cared for, and had a reciprocal relationship with for at least 10,000 years. I think it's from time immemorial. So this land for which they had been stewards for so long was taken from them, and even though we were not personally the ones who colonized the lands, our lives do profit from it each day. And so one concrete thing that we can do to heal the broken covenant that we inherited is to contribute to the Shumi land tax, which directly supports Segurité's work of rematriation, of returning indigenous land to the indigenous people. And so you see up on the screen there the contact information. But today is super special because our August half-plate recipient, who will receive half of our collection for this month, is the Segurité Land Trust. And so I am going to introduce you to someone very special. So Corinna Gould is the tribal chair for the Confederated Villages of the Lishan Nation. She was born and raised in the village of Hushien, now known as Oakland, California. She is the co-founder and co-director of Segurité Land Trust, which is an urban indigenous women-led organization within her ancestral territory. So through the practices of rematriation, cultural revitalization, and land restoration, the Land Trust calls on Native and non-Native peoples to heal and transform the legacies of colonialism, genocide, and to do the work that their ancestors and future generations are calling on them, on all of us, to do. And so let me give a very, very warm welcome, and please join me in welcoming Corinna.
Thank you. How long do you want me to talk?
Just a couple of minutes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right. Horshe tuhe suya. Good morning, relatives. It's really great to be here today in front of all of you, both here in person and in Zoom land there. I know that many congregations moved to Zoom land during COVID, and a lot of people are still doing that. It's an honor to be here with relatives that are actually helping us to do the rematriation. And when I come to places like this where folks come and gather, it often reminds me of why we do the work of rematriation. The work of rematriation is to actually allow people that have been here since time immemorial to actually do their responsibilities on the land that they have never given away. And to think about it, before Segurité Land Trust was created, the Lishan people had no place to pray. There was no churches, there was no land base. That we had totally been erased from our landscape. Most fourth graders learned about us in fourth grade because they had to, and then we disappeared in history when fifth grade started talking about the gold rush. That when we actually had to, for many years, ask private land developers and park districts for permission to pray on our own land. That the very first place that was given back to us was this very tiny little quarter-acre of space in deep East Oakland. And Planting Justice, a nonprofit organization that works with formerly incarcerated folks and people that have recently migrated to these lands, went to Standing Rock. And when they went to Standing Rock, they were moved by the ceremony that happened every day and the people coming together. And they wanted to know why, or what they should do when they came home to continue to support. And the elders there told them they should work with the First Nation people on whose land they were on. And so they took that to heart. Young people in their 30s who were creating this nonprofit organic nursery had this quarter acre of land on 105th Avenue that was filled with trash, but needed some love. And so they had someone, an elder, an Athabascan woman named Diane Williams. She said, you need to get a hold of Janella and Corinna. And Janella is the other co-founder of the Segurité Land Trust. We had been doing work in the Bay Area for 30 years, Janella and I, and many people from all walks of life, to bring to light that we were still here, that the Lishan people were still here, that our sacred sites continue to exist, that shell mounds are the burial sites of our ancestors and they ring the Bay Area. And when we sat with that young couple and they offered us this land, we were, of course, a little skeptical. Nobody gives back land, and why would they do that, and who are they, and we have no relationship with them. And so we said yes on a couple of conditions. We said we would pay Janelle a salary full-time to be here to build relationships with those men and women that were working in the nursery, that we would build a community there, and then after a year, if that went well, then we would continue to stay there. It has become a place that we now call LaShawn, the first place that we were able to build an arbor in 250 years, a center place for us to pray without outside interference. If you can imagine that none of the LaShawn people actually own homes, there are no businesses, there are no places that you know or can find out about us, and that these places have become a place of solace for our children and our grandchildren. I am thrilled to create relationships with people from all walks of life that come into our territory and want to learn about the LaShawn people and the Segorte Land Trust. And the relationship of not just paying Shumi, which is great, was a way that we had some allies who came up with this platform for us, and that this would be a great idea for us to create this good way of giving back. We also want people to come and be a part of the work that we're doing to rematriate land, that we now have 10 pieces of land, creek lands and gardens and LaShawn, and places up in the Oakland Hills, and they need tending too. This idea of wilderness is an idea and a concept that came with colonization. We are human beings, and human beings all over the world have always been a part of, not apart from, the earth, right? And so we need to, and many of us during COVID felt that. And I don't know why, but human beings wanted to be in touch with the land again, whether it was buying seeds and trying to grow your own food, or wanting to be in the land. And intrinsically, we know that that's what we're supposed to do. Robin Wall-Kilmer says inside of her book, Braiding Sweetgrass, that she takes young people out to the land, and they've never had any kind of relationship with land. But as they begin to sow seeds and they start to feel the land, that's for some reason after about 8 months, we start singing or humming to ourselves. And maybe that's in our hearts or out loud, but there's a give and take to the land. We believe that she's alive. So when we do the work of rematriation, it's not just for the LaShawn people. It's not just for the indigenous people that work at a Segorte. It's for everyone that now calls this place their home. It is our responsibility together as community to ensure that we have good soil to grow food on for the next 7 generations. That way past when we are gone, that we have good water to drink out for the next 7 generations, that we have good air to breathe for the next 7 generations, and that we create a relationship with the fire, not built of fear, but built of a relationship again. That we must remember that human beings had a relationship with fire when we cooked with them, when we used them for light, when we asked them and sometimes, if we're lucky and we get to go camping out back in our nature, we're able to have s'mores and sing songs around that fire that keeps us warm and gives us joy. And today we find ourselves in a place where indigenous people were stopped from practicing their cultural relationships with fire, and we find ourselves with these horrific wildfires that are happening. If we put our hands back in the land like our ancestors all did, then we will have that relationship again. And so I invite you, relatives, to come to the land. Help us to weed, help us to plant seeds, help us to harvest food, help us to take care of those waterways again. It's an open invitation to come and volunteer, whether you have administrative ideas or you have ideas. We have a curriculum collective for both elementary, middle school, and high school age students that we have been running for 3 years with other teachers from interdistrict places. And so this is a place for you to drop into to understand, because we of course, are humbled and are thankful for the Shumi, but it's about also building community. And so we want you to come to the Lance and to do that kind of work with us, to contact our volunteer coordinator at Segurate Land Trust. Come out with your families or come out as a congregation, figure out what we can do together to continue to build this idea of rematriation and to ensure that my grandchildren and great-grandchildren and your grandchildren and great-grandchildren have a place that will feed them for the next 7 generations and beyond. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for those inspiring words. My name is Nancy Henderson, and I'm your Worship Associate for today. And we're going to light the chalice. Flame of fire, spark of the universe that warmed our ancestral hearth, agent of life and death, symbol of truth and freedom, we strive to understand ourselves and our earthly home. And now we can do our traditional lighting the chalice, hand gestures if you know them. We light this chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism. May it remind us of the divine spark in all of creation, the power of love to heal what is broken, and to be grateful for life's blessings each day. And for our Black Lives Matter.
Wait, first I'm going to do a little call to worship, which is just very simply, if people ask you what Unitarian Universalism is, you can quote the words to the song or to the Chalice Camp explanation. It goes like this: it's a blessing that each of us was born. It matters. Yeah, why don't you repeat after me? It's a blessing each of us was born.
It's a blessing each of us was born.
And it matters what we do with our lives. What each of us knows about God is a piece of the truth.
What each of us knows about God is a piece of the truth.
Let the beauty we love be what we do.
Let the beauty we love be what we do.
And we don't have to do it alone. And so together let us now say, come, let us worship together.
For the Black Lives Matter candle, the prayer of our souls is a petition for persistence, not for the one good deed or single thought, but deed on deed and thought on thought, until day calling unto day shall make a life worth living.
Together we say, Black Lives Matter.
We light the earth candle with some good news from the LA Times. The return of 136 acres of land back to indigenous nations along California's Mendocino coast took place, marking the first time land managed by the Department of Transportation was returned to its ancestral owners. The tribes will now manage and protect the sacred site permanently.
Wow.
And together we say,
The earth is our home. We must take care of her.
and for the peace candle, with humility, with awareness of the existence of life and of the sufferings that are going on around us, let us practice the establishment of peace in our hearts and on earth. And together we say,
Peace is possible. So you talked about fire. We've got a lot of it up here. So if you'd like, rise in body or spirit and join us in our first gathering song. This one we'll sing through once in unison, and then Nancy and I will lead you in a round, which we'll sing twice. Come, come. Thank you. It's your turn. Your readings.
This is a poem I wrote some time ago, 2016, during a personally very challenging time in my life. Morning meanderings. Take each moment as it comes. Try not to make predictions. Open to the mystery of life's unfolding mission. Cultivate an open heart. Be wary when it closes. Breathe. Surround the suffering with air as life discloses all I cannot know right now. I'm just one single being, perched upon the wavering web, hearing, feeling, seeing. Pause, allow sensations pulse to resonate within me. Synchronize with rhythms that are present, that sustain me. Give myself permission to deflect affronts that pain me. Postponing my first response affords time for reframing. What I wish to say or do in each new situation, bide my time and pray, renewing my own best intentions. Once aligned, I stand a better chance of skillful practice, speaking, acting in the dance of life's connected matrix. Thank you for prompting me. Now is the time when we can get up and wander around and say hello to each other this morning. And when the bell sounds, or I think it's when Renee starts playing the piano, it would be really great if you could return to your seats.
And you can remain risen because we'll sing.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, and I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
I do feel like that's my job, is to bring you hope. And I understand that last Sunday's service inadvertently caused harm to some people.
No, the other way.
Well, no, I'm using this microphone. So anyway, let's not have it that loud. I understand that last Sunday's service inadvertently caused harm. And even though I wasn't there, and I imagine that many of you were not here this last week, as the minister of this congregation, I'm responsible for all worship, whether I'm here or not. And so I want to offer an apology for the harm that was caused. I apologize for that, and I'm sorry if you were among those who were hurt or harmed by something that happened here during a worship service or in the aftermath. And really what I want to do is lift up how this community responds when people are harmed. UU communities like this one are held together by the promises that we make to one another, by the covenants that we aspire to honor and live. And so one of the phrases from the covenant of this congregation is to listen actively to the needs of others and to assume best intentions. Well, I know that I continue to learn, and perhaps you also continue to learn as well, that intent is not the same as impact. And I know that sometimes words spoken with good intentions, including my own, may cause harm. And so the question is then, what do you do then? I don't know if you've ever heard of the communication tools of ouch and oops. How many of you have heard of that? So you can imagine what it is. I mean, ouch is when you have the courage to actually say that you were hurt, that you were harmed. And then oops is when you acknowledge that you may have caused harm and that it was a mistake, that you didn't mean that, and to be accountable. So I am really, really impressed and grateful about how over this past week, since last Sunday, this has been happening. People have been having direct conversations with one another in what could be called brave spaces. And this process will continue, the process of continuing to process last Sunday, but also in all of the work going forward, the hard, messy work that we are committed to dismantle systems of oppression. So some of you may already have had conversations and feel healed. Remember our covenant, or what we say at the beginning, is the power of love to heal what is broken. But for those of you who still would like to talk with someone, we have here with us today both of our affiliated community ministers. I can't really see, but I know that Reverend Kevin Mann is here and Reverend Claire Eustace. They're in the back there. So they are open to talk with you. And also Lila Ibrahim is here today. She is a lay leader who is on the Committee on Shared Ministry. And then you're also welcome to talk to me. So you can make an appointment to meet with me sometime in my office, and we can continue to heal what is broken. So finally, UU congregations, I want to remind you that we have love at our center. It's at the center of our shared values. We're accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values. And you know what? This love is actually fierce. It is a fierce love that calls us to courageous conversations, to being vulnerable with one another, to admit it when we've been hurt, to apologize, to forgive. So as in the Litany of Atonement that was written by one of the former ministers of this church, Reverend Rob Eller Isaacs, we forgive ourselves and each other, and we begin again in love. So we forgive ourselves and each other, and we begin again and again and again in love. And love is also what our embracing meditation is about. So I really wanted to take some time for this apology, but I also want to make time for what we do each Sunday, which is that we share our personal joys and sorrows in order to weave the tapestry of love that we call community. So in a moment, I'm going to ring this bell. And after that, those of you who are here are invited to speak out loud the names of people who are in your hearts today. And for those of you on Zoom, I do have the chat. So if you want to put something in the chat for me to read out loud to the congregation, we want to include you as well. So this is an embracing meditation. This is happy birthday to Pat St. Ange and Lydia Ferrante Roseberry. Right, yes, our friend in Colorado. Oh, and happy birthday to you, Suzanne. And school starts this week, so So let's hold in our hearts our little ones, or not so little ones. Lots of birthdays. And I hear this is going to be an auspicious year for Leos, is what somebody told me. So I don't know how to get the password to this iPad, so I don't know whether there's anyone. But I do also want to include things that were written in our Joys and Sorrows book, which you can see in the narthex when you come in. May the families of Nolan Wells and Tessin Fortune find justice. In appreciation of all those working for immigration rights. And then a joy is a picnic for our community that will be after the service today. So sorry, I don't have the passcode, but if any of you wrote something, just know that as we're going to say together, we hold them in our care. Thank you. If you'll join me in a moment of silence. And if you can, sense the spirit of life and love that flows within each of us, that flows among us and beyond us. And let me remind you of our chalice lighting words. To remember the divine spark in each of us and the power of love to heal what is broken. And to be grateful for life's blessings each day. For the love that will not let us go. Amen. I have a call and response song for you. So you can either remain seated, or if you want, you can rise in body or spirit. And Nancy's going to help me. I'm going to sing at the beginning. And then if it's call and response, that means in response to me singing something, you sing it back. And when I rise, let me rise. Like a bird, joyfully. And when I fall, let me fall, like a leaf, gracefully, without regret. And when I stand, let me stand, like a tree, strong and tall. And when I lie, let me lie, like a lake. Peacefully, calm and still. And when I work, let me work, like a bee, wholeheartedly. And when I play, let me play, like a breeze, refreshingly, light and clear. And when I rise, let me rise, like a bird, joyfully, and when I fall, let me fall, like a leaf, gracefully, without regret. Thank you. Thanks, Nancy. You know what? I've missed you. I've actually missed being here on Sunday mornings with the quality of the light shining through, the beautiful redwood arches that we have in this historic building, which was built in 1890. I love hearing the sound of your voices, raised in song, speaking the names of people who are in your heart. I love the way that this faith community can hold both the ordinary and the sacred. So summer break did kind of give me a chance to rest, and it definitely gave me some distance when I could be in the world just as a regular old person instead of a Unitarian Universalist minister. But now I'm back, and I'm actually very glad to be back, and I'm glad that you're all here with me. So we just sang the words that will carry us through this sermon. When I rise, let me rise joyfully. And when I fall, let me fall gracefully, without regret. It's a song about the full participation in the whole of life. You may know the phrase of Zorba the Greek, the full catastrophe. Right? We're going to live the full catastrophe, all the messiness, all the wonder, all the joy, all the grief. So it's not just the parts that make us feel good about ourselves, not just the parts of life when things are going well, but all of it. Rising and falling, standing and lying still, working and playing. Let it all in. Let it all in. So that phrase, let it all in, is where I want to begin, and it's where I will end. But first, I want to tell you something that actually feels a little bit vulnerable, which is that last spring, some of you may or may not know that I injured my Achilles tendon from overuse. I actually think it might have started during the No Kings March, because I marched like 8 miles that day after doing a service in here, but whatever, I have Achilles tendonitis. And for most of the summer, I clunked around in a boot. And did you know that my son Marcus, who serves as the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Berkeley, also injured his Achilles tendon last June. He ruptured it when he was playing pickleball. So here we now have 2 East Bay UU ministers, mother and son, each wearing a boot, both of us sidelined by the same stubborn injury in the very tendon that carries the name of a legendary warrior's one weakness. Remember the myth? Achilles was dipped in the river Styx by his mother, and he was made invulnerable everywhere except the heel that she held him by. So Achilles was the great hero of the Trojan War until an arrow found that one unguarded, vulnerable place, and he fell. So for 3,000 years, Achilles' heel has meant the flaw that undoes us, the weakness that signals our downfall. Well, I've been thinking about that story a little bit differently. As I hobbled around on my boot, sometimes I was even being pushed in a wheelchair. Basically, I needed help that I'm not used to asking for. Because here's the truth, and it may surprise you, that neither my son Marcus nor I, us UU ministers, walk on water. I'm sorry. We are ministers, which means that maybe we do stand up here in front of you and try to offer words, maybe of wisdom or inspiration about about grief and about justice and about love and forgiveness. But underneath our stoles and robes, I think you suspect this, that we're made of the same soft tissue that all of us are. We are vulnerable, we make mistakes, we tear, we limp. Sometimes we need a handrail, and sometimes we need a hand. So the researcher Brené Brown has spent her life, her career studying vulnerability, and what she found surprised even her. Vulnerability, she found, is not a weakness. Instead, it is, in her words, our most accurate measure of courage. Vulnerability is our most accurate measure of courage. So, it takes courage to let people see when we're not fine. The injury, the doubt, the grief that we carry. Maybe we're living with a question that we haven't lived into the answer yet. So we may try, I know I do, to appear strong and calm and capable, but I think for most of it's harder, and I would assert it maybe even is braver to say, I'm hurt. I'm human. I'm not certain. I'm not always capable or strong. So this morning, I'm not standing up here as someone who has it all figured out, who floats above the difficulties and the challenges of our lives, but I'm standing up here on a tendon that is still tender and healing as an invitation to you to be your full human, perfectly imperfect selves. So whatever you're carrying, whatever ache or hurt, physical or otherwise, that you brought here with you today, please know that this is a place where you can belong, that this can be your spiritual home, and that these can be your people. So that's what I think it means to let it all in. I don't have to tell you what a hard time we're living in right now. The political divide in this country, it feels less like an agreement now and more like a fracture. Something's broken. There is real fear about what is unraveling in our democracy here in this country, but also in other parts of the world. And underneath all of it, the slower, relentless news of a warming planet. Wildfires, unlike what Karina was describing, having a relationship with fire that is healthy. We now have fires that have their own season. We have heat waves that break records built the year before, oceans rising, ice caps melting, hurricanes gathering strength over warmer water. And I think we carry, many of us, a particular grief about what our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren, who some of us may never even meet, what they will inherit from us. And that kind of grief is not neurotic, it's not an overreaction. It is the appropriate, loving response of people who are paying attention and who care. And I encourage you to feel it fully, to both rage and weep. And also, even as you carry your grief and worry, and I know many of us are activists, so we do go into action mode, but I want you also to embrace moments of joy and wonder. So watch the sunrise in the morning and maybe the sunset at night, all the colors that color the sky right there on the horizon. And let yourself laugh. Let yourself really laugh at things, even if they're silly and small. And then I encourage you to notice, we have these peaches in season now, and sometimes you have these sun-warmed, perfect peaches. And I encourage you to go ahead and bite into them and let that sweet nectar run down your chin and get on your hands. So enjoy the beauty of the world. So the day before I returned to work, I just got back last Wednesday. So the day before that was August 4th, which was my partner Francie's and my 43rd anniversary. Thank you. And you know what we did? It was wonderful. We went to the Elmwood and saw the Mary Oliver movie. So there's a new documentary, Mary Oliver, Saved by the Beauty of the World. And I encourage you to go see it. And notice saved by beauty, not distracted by beauty, not let off the hook by beauty, but saved by beauty. So beauty is not the opposite of our responsibility to the world. It is part of what inspires us and what enables us to bear that responsibility. So I don't know if some of you were here last spring, but I preached about sacred places. Our music guest, Jennifer Barazon, was singing about beauty, about the Primrose Lake. And so not for the first or last time during that sermon, I quoted my colleague, Reverend Sean Dennison, who writes, "The ability to see beauty is the beginning of our moral sensibility. What we believe is beautiful, we will not wantonly destroy." E.B. White put this so simply it almost sounds like a confession. I imagine some of you have heard of this. He said that each morning he woke up torn between a desire to save the world or to savor the world. And he wrote that it made it hard to plan the day. And I love that because it is a very practical reality. It's like each morning we wake up and it's like, how shall I spend this hour? Shall I work to save the world? Shall I write my senators? Should I go out on the freeway with banners? Should I march in the street? Should I write postcards? Or maybe I should just sit outside with a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or something and look at the light, the quality of light, and maybe listen to bird song. I mean, there is just something so restorative of taking moments like that. And the thing is, I don't think we need to choose between savoring or saving the world. I think that we need both. And I think that we need it because of each other. Because we can't sustain what is going to be the long, long work of saving the world. We can't do it on rage alone. Rage burns out. I think what refills us, what gives us the stamina for this decades-long work that we are engaged in, is the savoring. So it's going out. Did any of you see the full moon this last week? It was so, so beautiful and big. And watching a baby. I've got a grandson who's now 10 months old. Some of you others may have little infants in your life. And so watching them crawl and stand up and fall down, it is just amazing. Human beings, watching human beings understand how to work in their bodies. And enjoying delicious meals. I personally am very food-oriented. And so one of my favorite things is having a delicious meal with my friends or my family. So beauty isn't a break from the work, it's the creative inspiration. It's the emotional fuel. And it can be a catalyst that sustains us through hardship, that sparks us into action, and that reminds us why life is worth living. So there's a poem that I want to end with. It was written by Karen Samuelson, and she names this better than I can. It's short, so I want you to really hear it, and I'm going to read it slowly. The poem is called "The World is Both Burning and Blooming." You get the bad news and the sunrise in the same day. You cry over the headlines, then you laugh at a baby wearing a hat shaped like a bear. This is the dual citizenship of being alive. Rage and reverence. Grief and grace. You are allowed to feel both. You are allowed to scream and still notice how good the soup is. You don't have to choose. Let it all in. Let it all in. So it's a little bit like that Rumi poem, The Guest House, where our lives are a guest house. So every feeling that shows up at the door, even the difficult ones, is a guest to be welcomed in, because each one, Rumi says, and this might be true, each one has been sent as a guide, maybe from beyond. Who knows where these challenges come from? But that's the spiritual practice I want to offer to you this morning, is you don't have to choose. Just let it all in. Cry at the headlines and laugh at the silly baby. And enjoy how good the soup is. Enjoy how good the soup is. So when you rise, may you rise joyfully like a bird. And when you fall, may you fall like a leaf, gracefully, without regret. So may it be so. Well, now I want to invite up Joanna. So some of you were here on Friday when we kicked off Pride Week, or Pride Season, with a Pride panel. And I now am so pleased to be able to hand to the development director of the LGBTQ Center, Community Center, and they are the ones in charge of Oakland Pride this year, which is so, so cool. Yeah.
We're excited.
Yes. So, this last Friday, Joe was here. There were other people from the Oakland Pride Center. And I mentioned that last summer we had heard that the Pride Center was having some challenges. And so last summer, this congregation had, as what we call our half-plate recipient, the LGBTQ Center. Now we're doing it for a second time. I have here a check for you. It is in the amount of $1,600,
Wow.
representing half of our plate.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So if you want to take just a moment to say thank you, or how that money will help you. Okay?
Thank you, Reverend. And it's so lovely to see all your faces again. I'll be back here since earlier in the summer. I hope we can see all of you at Pride next Sunday. There will be the march in the morning, and just a reminder that it's free to get into the festival before 12:30. I hope to see all of you there. For those who are less familiar with the LGBTQ Center's programming, I just want to share some amazing things that are on the horizon that I hope you can come out to and be part of. We're opening our Lakeshore Lavender Lounge at Lakeshore and Lake Park, and that's going to be a community cafe drop-in space with sober events, really focused on our queer and trans elders, but open to everyone. And we always, every month, we have free lunches for our Lavender elders at the North Oakland Senior Center. It's a really great program. I hope to see some of you there. We're also, our trans wellness center is moving. It's going to be opening on Grand Avenue in a few months, so really excited to see you at that opening as well. And of course, Town Youth Club is still going strong over at Santa Clara Avenue by Grand Lake Theater. We couldn't do this work without all of you. I'm just so grateful to follow Karina on this stage. We are grateful to be doing this work on Ohlone land under the guidance and leadership of its ancestral caretakers. And the center needs your support. If you want to become a monthly donor, that's a really powerful way of supporting this work. We also are accepting legacy support as well. So don't be shy to talk to me. And thank you again so much.
Go ahead, Nancy.
You have the announcements?
No, they're not now. We're doing the offertory.
Now is the time in the service when we consider the value of this amazing church community. Ponder the opportunities for connection, enrichment, activism, and service. Remember Yea, that for the month of August, our half-plate recipient will be Segurite Land Trust. And please give generously and look to the next slide to guide you. However, if this is your first time here, feel free to allow the basket to pass you by. Your presence is your gift. Will the ushers please come forward?
Of Sky Song. Will you please join me now in blessing the offering? To the work of the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love we call community, we dedicate ourselves and these our offerings. Thank you. After the service today, you are invited to join us in Venti Hall for coffee and conversation and refreshments. There also is going to be a picnic at Lake Temescal from noon to 4, so if you would like to go to that, you can bring some food to share. Next week, we will have our Oakland Pride service before the parade. And so we're going to start an hour early and meet in here at 9:30 for a short interfaith service. And then we'll go out, and some of us will walk over to the beginning of the parade, which is at Grand and Broadway. And then others, including me, will hopefully carpool over there. And we will be in the faith contingent. And something very cool is that the LGBTQ Pride Center has chosen our affiliated minister, Reverend Kevin Mann, to be one of the grand marshals. Yeah. So you can look for us on that flatbed truck. We're also going to have a brass band, and we're going to have kids who are handing out candy and other things. So it's going to be a real celebration of Pride next Sunday. And then for you newcomers, we're really glad that you came to this service today. So after the service, I will be down in front of this podium as well as Emily Stoper, and we'll give you a short orientation and answer your questions about what this congregation is about. And then, are you interested perhaps in being part of this worship team? All summer long, I understand that there's been a table in our social hall, And so if you would like to visit the Worship Associates table, please do and see the opportunities, large or small, for you to participate in crafting worship. And then finally, remember to check the Chalice Chatter newsletter and our rolling news board for more upcoming events, resources, and information about the church. So we have one more song to sing. Again, I'm sorry that we're going a little bit over, but let's talk about our lives. So For All That Is Our Life is our closing hymn. We'll sing all the verses. If you would rise in body or spirit. And we'll now extinguish all this fire up here.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And for the benediction, I'm going to hobble down using the handrail to join you and invite you to look across the aisle, maybe make eye contact with someone who you know and love already or someone who you haven't met yet. Because we are building a beloved community here. It's hard, long work. And so for the benediction, I want to say the words to the song that we just sang. So may we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. So remember, let it all in. The joy and the sorrow, the grief and the grace, the rage and the reverence. So go now in peace. I hope to see all of you in coffee hour. Maybe at the picnic. I'm going to get together with my son Marcus, so I won't join you there. But I will be back next week for our Pride service, 9:30. So I will see you then, and blessings.